What you're about to see isn't a political opinion piece, it's a pattern. Over the next 30 minutes, I'm going to show you how power, policing, and propaganda line up, and why what's happening right now in America should scare anyone who still believes in basic human dignity. If you think this is just law enforcement or left versus right, stay with me. By the end of this, you'll see why that framing is a lie. ICE can suck my dick, and America is going to shit. What I see on my timeline is very reminiscent of 1940s Germany, with ICE basically playing modern-day Gestapo. While Gestapo operated at a larger scale, the militarized raids, fear in immigrant communities, and family separations and detention without trial for long periods of time under inhumane conditions certainly rings Nazi fucking bells. Pregnant woman being laid on her stomach by ICE.
She's pregnant. You don't see her stomach?
An ICE quote-unquote agent pointing a gun at unarmed citizens.
Get back, I'm gonna shoot you. You're gonna what? You're gonna shoot me? Yeah.
An innocent woman getting shot in the fucking face, and the President of the United States justifying it.
From this point, we've slowed the footage down. One of these agents approaches the driver's window and tries to open the car door, which appears to be locked. At this point, the car starts reversing. The third agent has now moved round to the front of the car and appears to be filming on a mobile phone. The car starts to move forward and turn right. The agent in front of the car draws his gun and fires a first shot. 2 more shots can then be heard.
Watched that yesterday, and there were a lot of different forms to it. But there was a woman screaming, "Shame, shame, shame, shame." She was a agitator, probably a paid agitator, but in my opinion, she was an agitator, a very high-level agitator, so professional. She wouldn't stop screaming. I said, this isn't a normal situation. This is a professional troublemaker, because you heard it and I had it. Now, I will say this, the news sort of turned her down, turned her off, because you're trying to watch. She was so loud and so crazy and just not normal. When somebody sees something like that, they don't go screaming and the same words.
Holy fuck. An innocent woman just got shot in the face, and all he does is shift the blame towards a bystander that is clearly emotionally impacted. I wonder why. Maybe because someone just got shot in the fucking face? This is willful ignorance, bro. Is this rage bait from a president? Now, I'm low-key starting to understand the people who don't want to engage in politics to avoid the cortisol spike. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. There is no way he just tried to say that screaming shame, shame, shame is an inappropriate reaction to what happened in that situation as a bystander. I'm not even going to sit here and explain why it is more than justified to react that way. This fucking airhead. In the video, we can clearly see she's intimidated. She's brave. I mean, she's speaking up against ICE, but still, unidentifiable, masked, armed men trying to walk up to her car and open her door to possibly hurt and abduct her is obviously scary, intimidating, shocking, whatever you want to call it. So she chooses to retreat, to get away. Hence why we can clearly see her attempt a 4-point turn. We can even see her tire pointing to the right. Shortly before she was murdered and right after the first shot, she was attempting a 4-point turn. And of course, he will be given quote-unquote absolute immunity.
Your administration has advocated for absolute immunity for the ICE officer who shot Renee Good. How do you define absolute immunity? What does that mean?
Everyone's seen it, and the woman was very violent. She's a very radical person. Very sad what happened. Her friend was very radical. Go or drive.
For the officer, absolute immunity. How would you define that?
Dude, I love how she's not letting him go off rails. Like, shut the fuck up, bro. She asked you to define absolute immunity, not whether she was violent or radical. He also starts off by saying everyone has seen it, and then he states his view on Renee Good, basically implying that everyone agrees with him and sees it the same way. What a fucking donut. Don't speak for everybody and answer the question. Thank you. Another thing that I noticed while editing was that he referred to Renee Good's wife as her friend. And there is no way he doesn't know that that was her wife. This was one of the first details that I found out about the situation when I first looked into it. He is the literal fucking president of the United States. And you're telling me he does not know that that was her wife? He's just so homophobic that he won't even acknowledge Renee Good's wife as her wife. This has to be on purpose. And if you think that's cool or based or good or whatever, then you have to be fucking 15 years old, low IQ or religious or all of the above.
Well, I'm going to let the people define it, but immunity, you know what immunity means as well as I do. That woman was very, very
So he's basically saying the ICE officer will go unpunished, and then he goes back to how violent and dangerous and radical she is. Like I said earlier, this has to be rage bait. No fucking way. I'm really trying to protect my testosterone by not letting my cortisol rise as I watch this fucking bullshit. But let's go on.
Shame on you.
Listen, have y'all not learned from the past couple of days? Have you not learned?
Learned what? What's our lesson here? What do you want us to learn?
Following federal agents.
Give me my phone back.
Basically, what he's saying is, have you not learned that I can brutally murder you in broad daylight and not suffer any consequences? That's it. That's all he's saying.
Why was Renee Good unfortunately and tragically killed?
Are you asking me my
Yeah.
opinion? Because an ICE agent acted recklessly and killed it unjustifiably.
Oh, okay. So you're a biased reporter with a left-wing opinion.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, because you're a left-wing hack. You're not a reporter. You're posing in this room as a journalist, and it's so clear by the premise of your question. And you and the people in the media who have such biases but fake like you're a journalist, you shouldn't even be sitting in that seat. But you're pretending like you're a journalist, but you're a left-wing activist. And the question that you just raised and your answer proves your bias. You should be reporting on the facts. You should be reporting on the cases.
I didn't even know who this bitch was before this clip, and I'm honestly trying not to spike my cortisol again, but holy shit. If this isn't textbook fascism, I don't know what is. We literally saw the video. This has nothing to do with left or right. She's basically saying, tell me what I want to hear or you're a left-wing fucker. By that logic, the opposite, Renee deserved it, would be right-wing, wouldn't it? Which is just as biased. Does she not realize she's a literal Republican? She's biased by nature. You're biased by nature. You're a Republican, you twat. This isn't an exchange. It's enforcing obedience. You step out of line, you're the left-wing problem. You mirror their narrative perfectly and you're okay. So she's weaponizing political labels to shut down scrutiny, not answer questions. Any question or observation that doesn't perfectly fit her worldview suddenly makes you an enemy. That's exactly how authoritarian systems operate. You conform or you're labeled as dangerous. Her claim relies on a false dichotomy, okay? If you criticize ICE, you're left-wing. If you support them, you're not. Holy room temperature IQ. You can criticize ICE and still be a Republican. I'm not going to break down every logical flaw here, but the fucking big ones are obvious, okay? Strawman fallacy, appeal to authority, ad hominem attacks, circular reasoning, derailing rational debate. It's honestly a mess. A lot of people pointed this out, that this could be a full-on SNL skit. It just reeks of satire. Like, this doesn't even seem real. And oh, by the way, please take that Jesus piece off your neck. If you're new here, you might not get it, but I've already called out Christian nationalism plenty of times. I don't need to rehash it all, but just know this. Jesus would never be a Republican, and he sure as hell wouldn't support ICE. I bet she thinks she's a good person and that she's got it all figured out. I mean, how do you reconcile talking about God's love, holding hands in church and praying, then moving like this in the world? That cognitive dissonance must be suffocating. And to be a little kinder, maybe she has a different type of intelligence, you know, bodily, kinesthetic, spatial, whatever they call it, sure. But intrapersonal intelligence, the ability to reflect deeply on yourself, that's clearly lacking. Because, bro, what the fuck is this? What the
Hey! Stop kneeing him in the face! That's his face! Stop it!
Back up or you'll be arrested for impeding. Back up.
I am back.
That's fine.
It's icy.
Be careful. Be careful.
What's your name? What's your name for your family? What's your name? Ricardo what? Ricardo what?
Kneeing a handcuffed civilian pinned face down on the ground. The bar is in fucking hell. Let me remind y'all, America is not the way it is right now because of Trump. America has this government because these people were always here. These sick fucks always existed, and this situation is a wet dream to them.
You should be ashamed of yourself, man.
He is.
I love my job. Thank you.
You love your job?
I can't believe I get paid for this.
Really?
I do this for free.
When people choose willful ignorance, nothing can convince them. Even something as clear as this video. What the fuck is the excuse now? In no way, shape, or form could this guy pose a threat. Pinned down, face down to the ground. More than 3 guys on his back. Was this guy also just doing his job? The ICE officer, was he just doing his job? Was this also necessary? Americans are not angry enough, real talk. What about the 21-year-old protester who's now most likely blind for life because of ICE?
Will you be blind in that eye for life?
From what I've heard the doctors say and everyone else, yes, I will be blind for life. They said my globe was ruptured. I had my lower lid was cut up, and they had to take skin from my temple to fix it. There's a lot to it. I don't remember all the things that they said. I have fractures in my skull that they can't fix, and I can't sneeze or cough because it's dangerous too. I remember also when I shot, there was pepper in it, and I had pepper down my throat. It made it hard to breathe for a long time. They pulled a piece of plastic the size of a nickel out of my eye. They said I had shards of metal, glass, and plastic all throughout my eye and behind my eye and in my skull. And they also said that I had a piece of shrapnel metal about a few millimeters away from my carotid artery. And they said it was a miracle I survived, because if it got any closer, if it hit that, I would have died that night.
Now, did he rush at the ICE officer? Yeah, he did. But he had 2 hands on a megaphone. No offense to him, but how does a scrawny kid with a megaphone rushing at you when you're a fucking federal law enforcement official justify shooting him in the eye with a non-lethal weapon? What were these guys trained to do? Just stand in a fucking circle jerk or what? If this kid rushed at me, and I'm not a government official, even though I train martial arts, I'd handle it with relative ease. Shooting him in the eye like that just signals a loss of control. Where did you train? What did you train? What are you good for? like I said, it just signals a loss of control. Maybe out of fear, anger, irritation, spite, whatever the fuck. But it's embarrassingly unqualified. Like, bro, imagine what kind of a pussy you have to be to have someone run at you like this, right? Scrawny kid, 2 hands on a megaphone, and you can't do nothing about it. You can't do nothing about it. You have to resort to shooting him in the face with a non-lethal weapon. I don't give a fuck if it's non-lethal. This kid's gonna be blind for life. It's excessive force. It's really not necessary in that situation. You couldn't do a body lock trip. You couldn't do a little judo trip. What the fuck do y'all even learn? What is your training? Like I said, it's probably just standing in a circle, just jerking each other off. Duh. Scrawny kid, 2 hands on a microphone, body's literally exposed. You can have your way with him. Like, are you serious? Even somebody with no training, just a strong gym bro, can handle this with ease. But this ICE officer looks like he doesn't even have a fucking ounce of training. You couldn't at least smack the megaphone out of his hand or push him back, tackle him to the ground, just something. This is going to be a hot take, but what y'all gotta understand is this. We've seen this pattern historically. If y'all don't protest and overthrow ICE, the oppression and injustices will only grow. Brutal, I know, but it's the truth. America is completely losing the plot. And listen, I don't have a problem with deporting convicted criminals, but this is wrong, period. America has officially lost it. You guys have replaced someone like Obama, who, love him or hate him, had class, with a convicted felon, so bigoted and misogynistic, his BFF just happened to be the world's most notorious child sex trafficker. You also embrace anti-intellectual bigots, give them a platform, and hand podcasting equipment to the most undeserving, unremarkable minds who really don't need to be heard. Then you have ICE, which we've just talked about, and even modern day imperialism. Trump carried out a military operation that captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and brought him to the United States. I can't lie, the military operation was fucking badass. If Trump wanted to abduct me for my YouTube videos, he could do so in a heartbeat. But I'm not 14 years old, bro. Just because it's badass, I'm not gonna support it. Let's look at the situation for what it is. Let's look at it first from a legal perspective. So, for those of you who don't know, after World War II in 1945, the United Nations Charter was signed. Its main purpose was to prevent another global war like World War II, preserve peace, and promote cooperation among nations. So the charter applies to all members of the United Nations. So when a country joins the United Nations, it formally agrees to be bound by the charter. And today, almost every recognized sovereign state in the world, 193 of them, is a United Nations member. So practically everyone is covered. The United Nations Charter is the backbone of modern international law regarding state sovereignty and the use of force. In this charter, Article 2, Paragraph 4, if you want to hear it verbatim, then go search it up yourself. But basically, Article 2, Paragraph 4 prohibits unilateral military attacks on another country's territory or government. So basically, in a nutshell, what Donald Trump did by attacking Venezuela out of fucking nowhere with no UN authorization is illegal. And then there's Article 51, which recognizes the right of self-defense if an armed attack occurs against a member state. But the US did not claim Venezuela attacked the US. So Article 51 doesn't even apply cleanly here. So without either UN authorization or a credible self-defense claim, the operation is widely considered illegal under international law. So will Trump face consequences? Probably not. Why? Because legal battles are long and complicated, and there's loopholes. For example, the International Criminal Court, ICC, is based in the Netherlands, okay? Its job is to prosecute individuals, including leaders, for the world's worst crimes. Think genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, shit like that. It's meant to be a court of last resort, stepping in only when national courts can't or won't prosecute serious international crimes. So the ICC began operating in 2002. The US initially signed, but withdrew its signature and never fully ratified it. So they never fully joined. So this is the loophole me and many other critics mean. The UN can oblige certain conduct, but the ICC can't prosecute US leaders since the US never accepted its jurisdiction. So under international criminal law, the ICC simply has no legal hook to go after a US president. And interestingly enough, some of the most powerful states in the world are not members. The US, China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, and of course, Israel. That's not an accident. These countries do not want external criminal jurisdiction over their leaders or militaries. So middle and small powers are legally exposed to ICC prosecution, while great powers, so United States, China, Russia, Israel, are effectively immune. That's why critics say the ICC has an enforcement asymmetry problem. It can reach African warlords and mid-level states far more easily than global heavyweights. For example, the ICC judges issued arrest warrants for Mr. Genocide himself, Benjamin Netanyahu, and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant for war crimes and crimes against humanity linked to actions during the Gaza conflict, like starvation of civilians as a method of warfare and related offenses, right? So the ICC cannot force Israel to hand over Netanyahu. Israel does not have a legal obligation at home to arrest or transfer him. In practice, he can move freely in non-ICC member states like the United States, but 124 countries are obliged to arrest him if he sets foot on their territory. That means if he travels to a European or many other countries, he could be detained under international treaty obligations. So even if the US won't arrest him, other countries legally could and would be expected to. So even if the ICC wanted to arrest Trump, he could just do what Vladimir Putin is doing, for example. He has a warrant issued and he avoids most of Europe. So international criminal law works like this. The law exists, the jurisdiction exists, but the enforcement depends on politics. That doesn't mean nothing happens. It just means that consequences are delayed, conditional, and uneven. So history shows us clearly, some leaders evade justice for years, some are eventually arrested when power shifts, and almost none are touched while fully protected by a strong state, just like Trump. But it wouldn't be Trump's first time breaking the law. This guy is basically a walking crime spree, but somehow he always anoints himself as the law and order guy, and his followers don't give a flying fuck.
Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
I mean, shit. He literally brags about it. Getting away with everything just fuels his narcissism. But anyways, what's his explanation for committing yet another crime? The United States has formally charged Maduro and others, including his wife and close allies, with serious crimes in federal court in New York. Those charges include narco-terrorism conspiracy, cocaine importation conspiracy, and weapon offenses connected to drug trafficking. All crimes that, in US law, can lead to decades in prison. So allegedly, Maduro and his circle actively facilitated or protected drug traffickers moving large amounts of cocaine towards the US market. So they're saying bribery, protection schemes, corruption help drug shipments move more freely, including using official positions, diplomatic cover, and state infrastructure. So this is very bad. The indictment even claims orders of violence like kidnappings or murders were used to protect and advance the trafficking network. So this is some crazy shit. But let me remind y'all, we just have a formal accusation, not a proven fact yet. So Maduro must still be convicted in a court before it's legally established that he actually did these crimes. And Maduro denies all the charges and has pleaded not guilty. And what's the evidence looking like? Well, we don't have public access, so we shall see. But I do think that they have serious evidence if they really arrested him for these reasons. But here's the thing, whether Maduro is guilty or not, I don't think that the drug charges are Trump's main concern. The US is literally running Venezuela's pockets right now, boy, on some real fucking gangster shit. Like I said earlier, if I was 14, I would think this shit is so tough. I would think Trump is the hardest motherfucker out here. Like, this is some gangster shit. You just, boom, crazy ass operation. You go to Venezuela, you run their pockets. But now I'm not 14 anymore, and I have enough historical and political awareness to understand exactly what's going on. This is imperialism. It's a resource-driven intervention. The US removing Maduro while signaling an intention to control or influence Venezuela's oil production is a textbook example of a powerful country using force to secure strategic resources. That's a classic imperialist pattern, just updated to the 21st century. Beyond oil, it's about shaping who governs the country and aligning it with US interests. Even if framed as law enforcement or anti-drug action, the end result is the same: control over another nation's political and economic direction. Acting without UN authorization or broad international consent reinforces the imperialist argument. In traditional colonialism, imperial powers acted unilaterally. Here, the same principle applies in a modern military legal context. And of course, the economic benefit that comes from, well, stealing, let's call it what it is.
The oil that has been seized. The United States seized 1.9 million barrels of oil on December 10th.
Stole that shit. That's what I do, nigga. Fuck, nigga, I stole that shit. Nigga, I talk facts. What, deny what, nigga? Give me that, nigga. I don't know what to do with that.
Okay.
You know when a nigga got a girl, her shit fat? Bro, you don't know what to do with that. Give me that.
This might as right ass operation checks all the boxes of a modern imperialist action, just dressed in 21st century rhetoric about drug enforcement and regime change. So was Maduro a fuck up dictator? Yes. Did Trump technically benefit Venezuela by grabbing him? Maybe, if you think removing a corrupt tyrant by force is net positive, which I do actually. But does that make Trump some humanitarian hero? Fuck no. Stop pretending. This wasn't humanity first. This was America first. He doesn't give a shit about Venezuelans, Somalis, Mexicans, or anyone from what he calls shithole places. This operation wasn't some empathy crusade. It's raw power projection. The guy literally said the US would help run Venezuela and profit off its oil during the transition. And let's get this straight, he didn't free Gaza or magically solve shit there either. He backed Israel's actions, and there's blood on all of that too. Blood on his hands. Trump's playbook is never people first. It's national interest and ego first. If that lines up coincidentally with some positive outcome somewhere, that's not benevolence. That's bullshit. That's the real split between the right and the left. One says my country first, the other one says humanity first. You can choose either path. I'm picking humanity first. And no, you don't need religion for empathy or morals, okay? This is just common sense. And his imperialistic tendencies don't stop right there. Now he also wants to acquire, even if by force, his second favorite island, Greenland. Same reasons, political power, resources, expansion, even if it's at the expense of the people living there.
Very carefully. Greenland have been part of the Danish kingdom for 800 years. It's an integrated part of our country. It is not for sale. Let me put it in words you might understand. Mr. Trump, fuck off.
Hvis du fik penge af Trump, vil du så overveje at blive amerikaner?
Nej. Jeg vil sige nej tak. Jeg har ikke brug for penge.
Nej tak. Det er helt sikkert, at vi ikke vil det.
No, he could never buy us. Ever in my life, I would.
500,000?
No.
A million?
Not.
You can say any number,
Any number in the world, and we'll know, and we'll say no. It belongs to us and us only.
What I think is, he wants the Greenlandic minerals to pay off the national debt of United States. That's what I think.
Do you think people are really scared in Greenland?
Yeah, I've seen quite few who were concerned.
No amount of money is gonna be able to convince me for Donald Trump to take over Greenland.
So I don't like other higher powers oppressing lower powers. I don't like it at all.
What makes you guys excited about potentially becoming a part of the United States?
McDonald's.
We want fast food.
We'll see how this unfolds. Y'all know my stance. Fuck imperialism, fuck ICE, fuck Trump, fuck Netanyahu, fuck those unreadable ass Epstein files, and fuck anyone who disagrees. And now look, if Trump genuinely did this operation strictly for the people of Venezuela, I'd be glad he probably won't be punished. But as I stated earlier, Trump doesn't give a shit about Venezuela, and I'm not in support of imperialism, going to other countries and stealing whenever you see fit just because you can. That's why I want him to get prosecuted for this. And generally speaking, I don't wish well for Trump. I want his orange ass to go to jail. Why? He wishes bad things on his political enemies himself.
He wanted the best for them. That's where I disagreed with Charlie. I hate my opponent. And I don't want the best for them. I'm sorry. I am sorry, Erica. But now Erica can talk to me and the whole group, and maybe they can convince me that that's not right, but I can't stand my opponent.
If I was an American, which thank God I'm not, he would not only label me a communist leftist lunatic, he would most definitely be in favor of me being deported to my quote-unquote shithole country. Naturalized citizen, born there, contributing to society, freedom of speech, none of that matters. He knows what he wants, and that is a mostly white conservative America. Why? Because he's bigoted, simple as that. Donald Trump is a white supremacist piece of shit. If he could get away with it and benefit from it, his moral framework would allow him to colonize an African country like Somalia. He treats these nations as problems to be managed, not people to be respected, ignoring context, showing no empathy, and pursuing his goals at any cost. The classic colonizer mindset. These types of power-hungry, unempathetic white men led to some of the world's biggest catastrophes, and if you fail to see that, congratulations, you're a fucking donut. I have nothing against law and order, and I have nothing against national identity, although I don't find it particularly important. But this is just a fucking mess. A bloody mess.